Okay, it's Dumb Bleep of the week. We're going to go through some dumb stuff.
Like 10 grand.
We've got a, see, I always just like sell myself short right there. Could have said anything. I picked $1,000. We've got a clip from Zohran Mamdani. We've got a clip from Bill Burr. We've got Trump's face on a new $250 bill, so that's cool. We've got many things going on, as well as still a little bit about Thomas Massie and the Israel lobby. And, of course, we're going to throw in some of my submissions and other people's submissions from the Libertarian Party National Convention from last weekend. And then, hopefully, it's the last time we'll talk about it. We'll see. So that's what we're going to do. The people are going to vote. Join gmail.com. They're going to vote on what the dumbest thing of the week was. Okay, here we go. We're going to start with a Zohran Mamdani. He's got an idea. See, they have an issue there in New York with apartment buildings being dilapidated, just in terrible shape. And, of course, this is because greedy landlords have just decided that they're not going to fix up their buildings because capitalism says that they don't have to. And so now the mayor of New York is going to come in and solve the problem, of course, as governments always do.
Through our new citywide campaign, Fix the City, we will focus on the worst landlords in New York City. When necessary, we will take aggressive legal action to remove negligent owners and property managers. And for buildings that have suffered chronic neglect, we will work to transfer ownership to responsible stewards. Stewards that include community land trusts, nonprofits, or even the tenants themselves. The third core plank of our plan is years overdue. We will deliver the transformative investments that public housing has long needed, but not received.
All right. Did you catch that?
Yep.
So they are going to go in and find the worst landlords by some arbitrary metric. The buildings that suffer from the most neglect, I guess in relation to the other buildings. I don't know exactly what they're going to count as neglect, and they're going to take the property from the property owners, and they're going to transfer that to community trusts or the tenants themselves, or even some nonprofits. Just depends on which ones like donated to his campaign. I don't know which ones they'll be, or if they can even do that as nonprofits. But anyhow, that's what we're doing. And this is so interesting because people have been talking about the rental situation in New York for a long time, as long as I can remember. I can find videos of Milton Friedman back in the 70s talking about the issues in New York and arguing with, college students or whatever about the issues in New York. And it's always been about the rent control itself. Like they have made it unprofitable to have these buildings. They had a situation where people were burning down their buildings just to get money out of them at one point in time. And of course, one thing that people have skimped on is fixing up the buildings. That's just what's going to happen. You've set caps on how much they can rate. Doesn't matter what the inflation is or anything like that, or what the other expenses or what the market rate is, what people might pay. They've just set caps on how much people can raise their rents or what the rents can be, and the buildings have suffered as a consequence.
Which is why you see a lot of buildings, your apartment is 100 square feet.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
They didn't set the caps on, square footage.
Just do that. I did pull up.
What this reminds me of? Instantly, it reminds me of, the Soviets taking land from the kulaks.
It does kind of sound like that.
It sounds just like it. It's like these farmers who are hoarding
terrible landowners,
land,
man. Yeah.
That
they got too many cows.
Yeah.
It's an issue.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what it sounds like.
Mm-hmm.
The state is going to take ownership of these and give it to other people.
Of course, they never do it because they're not doing it because, these people have buildings and you don't. they're not going to do that. Like, that's too easy. That's too obvious. They're going to point out villains. These are neglectful, awful landowners, property owners, landlords, slumlords, and they are treating the people terribly. And so we're going to take the property from them and give it to whoever we decide to give it to. This is just random. I thought it'd be fun because we haven't played one in a bit. Just a random clip of Milton Friedman arguing back and forth with someone about the situation in New York in what was probably
70s or 80s.
This was probably 72 or 3 or something like that. Over 50
years ago
when this happened. Yeah. And so here's this back and forth, and of course he's got a great Friedman one-liner in here too.
Or you have a badly maintained apartment building by an absentee landlord. And
there are no dwelling units in this country that are more badly maintained than public housing dwelling units.
In the South Bronx, people are burning their houses.
Of course, why?
They are burning their houses to move into public housing.
Of course, but why are they burning those houses and abandoning them? Why?
They're badly maintained.
No, sirree. Because you have rent control in New York City, which makes it uneconomical to maintain the houses and means that the only way in which you can get any money out of them is by burning them down.
Also, an absentee landlord is very...
Absentee landlordism, of course. But you mean to say that the public housing units are not absentee landlords? Look, I am not... You must understand, I think it's important for people to have decent housing. My objection to public housing is that it's made the housing of the poor worse. You've torn down dwellings in which they lived. You've put up, in part, if you take the whole housing program, urban renewal plus public housing, the situation is even worse. You've torn down more dwelling units than you've put up. Of those you put up, a considerable fraction have not been available to the poor. You've torn down low-income dwelling units. Take any urban renewal area in this country you want. You've torn down low-income dwelling units and you've put up luxury apartments. And that's helping the housing of the poor? Not by a long sight. So that the problem is, and then in the public housing units you've set up, because of the income requirements and so on, the people who can qualify for them tend to be broken families. They have an abnormally high rate of juvenile delinquency, of sabotage, of destruction. They are poorly maintained. You see, the problem that this young man is illustrating is the tendency that we often have to take the will for the deed. The problem isn't the objective of the public housing units. The point is to go out and see what's actually happened with them. And there is hardly anybody who has studied the subject who will defend the public housing program as having improved the housing of the poor.
He always hated public housing. Remember that clip where he's talking about what departments to get rid of? And it was like, oh, housing and urban development has done an enormous amount of harm. My God. So good. All right.
It's because it's true.
It is true. This is just simply another case of government trying to come up with a government solution to a government created problem. That's all that's happening right now. So
yeah, and they do a good job of reframing and marketing it.
Oh, they do. Yeah, for sure.
Block by block. That's a good slogan
It's
to
a
get
good
behind.
one. Yeah.
Yeah. You're going to go. And then they've done a good job of creating the villain, not themselves, of course.
No, it's nothing they've done.
Yes.
In fact, previous governments just haven't tried hard enough to prevent this from happening. They haven't had enough government involvement is the problem they've identified.
Yep.
Of course, a government would identify that as the source of the problem. So, all right, that's number one. Number two, Bill Burr said something dumb. Let's listen to it.
My new perspective is there's nothing wrong with being a billionaire, but if somebody is working 40 hours a week, 160 hours a month, and they can't make their rent, you're not paying them enough money. Maybe you should just be worth $900 million.
Yeah.
Like, how does a CEO take a fucking 8-figure bonus and none of your employees have dental insurance? They can't even go out and get a filling.
All right, so there's his little clip, 22 seconds for you. The main point in there was if you're working 40 hours a week and they can't make their rent, you're not paying them enough money. Now that is super subjective and arbitrary, and I don't like that. My first thought on that was like, okay, so if I'm working 40 hours a week, I should just go be able to pick any place downtown I want. And if I can't make my rent, then my boss is not paying me enough money at McDonald's.
It's my boss's problem.
that's their problem.
Yeah.
Like, no, what actually matters is what you're producing in that 40 hours and how valuable it is to all the other people that are paying money for it. That's
and then what your customers are willing to pay for the products or services that you provide.
Like that, be mad at the customers.
Yeah.
You know, why aren't they willing to pay $35 for a meal at McDonald's?
Yeah.
It's actually their fault.
Look, from a business owner perspective, I seem to take the line, or I've always had the philosophy that if you take care of people that are taking care of your customers, you'll always win in business. So in a way, I'm not saying I agree with Bill Burr, but in a way I'm saying, like, as a business owner, I've always felt like that I'm willing to give, my employees more, so that they're happy and can support their families. However, I'm in an industry where the margins are a lot higher than, let's compare to like McDonald's. Okay. You can't raise the prices at McDonald's enough to pay everyone a quote unquote living wage, whatever that means, living wage, and still have the customers buy the product necessary to fulfill that gap.
It just won't work. But of course, the issue he identifies is that you could pay them all more if it weren't for the CEO making so much money. That's the second part of his dumb, is that it's just the greedy CEO who has decided that they want to be worth $1 billion instead of $900 million.
Well, he makes a mistake too. He says an 8-figure salary. They don't. Yeah. There's no CEO who makes an 8-figure salary. No. Not a single one.
No.
Yeah. Now, total compensation, sure. But most of that is usually in stock options.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not salary. To actually pay the employees cash, you would have to sell those stocks so that you could get the cash for them and then distribute the money, which, by the way, would tank the value of the company. It's just to people who don't understand money works.
Well, once again, he makes the, I think I'll make this point once a week until I die. He makes the mistake of assuming that, he says you could have 900 million instead of $1 billion, which means he thinks that the CEO scraped $100 million off of the top of profits that would have otherwise gone to the workers, which means he thinks the CEO got paid that money, like out of the bank account of the business from the profits on the stuff that they sold. That's just not, that's not true. No. That's not how it happens at all.
It works.
Like, that is the one thing I can't come up with a better way to describe it. That is the one thing that is the foundation of so many of the stuff that you hear from the leftist socialists, is them actually thinking that the billionaires have that money and that they got it from the profits, from the proceeds of the goods and services that they're selling to people. And it's not true.
Not close
at all. It's on paper, or it's in a computer somewhere. Not even the money, just says a stock. Okay, next one is just kind of for fun. I just thought, hey, this is a dumb situation that happened. This show's called Dumb Bleep of the Week. This is hand down one of the best
real
videos
quick, I had to
I've
look
seen.
it up. Real quick, I had to look it up. So Walmart's current CEO, John Furner, earned a total compensation of $27 million last year. But here's his base salary, $1.31 million.
1.3. Yeah.
Doug McMillon, the former CEO before transitioning, has a base salary of $1.5 million.
Okay.
So that's the salary. The rest of the compensation happens in stock options, mainly.
And of course, you find if you take that entire compensation from the CEO and you divide it amongst all the workers, it would be like a penny, a few pennies more per hour, and that's not gonna make it to where all of a sudden they can afford their rent. So anyhow, next one, number 3. This was dumb and also funny. I just thought we could lighten the mood before the rest of the stuff.
Oh, I saw this. So good.
Yeah, you ruined my joke by going into the salary thing. I said this is hand down one of the best videos I've seen this week.
Yeah.
And I got a few more, though. Don't worry.
Okay.
Hello, ma'am. Hey, good morning. I'm Deputy Gasala with the Palm Beach County Sheriff's Office. Recently being pulled over in the city of Lake Worth today. We're doing an operation for distracted driver, and you drove past me holding the phone with your right hand, manipulating that phone. I mean, I saw you with the phone in your hand.
Not. So you want to just call this a day? Or?
I don't want to call it a day. You had a hand up manipulating
You just
the
said
phone.
my right hand.
Well, I thought I saw you with your right hand. You
so
had a
you
hand
didn't.
up. The right hand. I saw you
So
manipulate.
you didn't.
With the right hand, perhaps not, right? But I saw you.
You didn't see me with my right hand.
Okay, so are you saying
that you saw me with my right hand?
I know what I just said. I know what I just said. I'm asking you now. Did you or not have your phone on your hand?
I did not.
You did not have your phone in your hand?
I did not.
Hand to God, you didn't have your phone in your hand.
Hand to God.
The other hand to God, you don't have your phone in your hand.
The other hand to
God. Cool. You got your driver's license.
That was good. That was good. That was funny. Give her a hand.
Oh, God. This just shows, by the way. This is great. I didn't even think about this for the show. I laughed at this so hard. I saw it the other day. Of course, I think everyone has. It has like 107 million views.
Tons of views.
I didn't even think about the implications of like how incompetent government is, you know. Now, it turns out that they have dismissed this case, which I find it to be completely unfortunate.
The cop
because I wanted
asked
her to raise her right hand. And solemnly
like,
swear
how's
to
she
tell
supposed
the
to
truth.
put one on the Bible and raise the other at the same time?
Yeah. I don't know. She's going to have to raise her left hand, I guess.
Does that mean you can't commit perjury? I mean,
I don't know.
I don't know how that works.
But see, this is the problem with some of these quotas and stuff. You know, like obviously cops are just making. He clearly made it up. Now, is it possible she had it in her left hand and he thought right hand? Maybe.
Honestly, she's got a little bit past her elbow, and it's possible she was holding her phone with the nub.
Yeah, maybe she was.
Yeah,
like this.
And people find all sorts of ways to do stuff.
You know.
But hey, I would use that to get out of tickets too.
Yeah,
absolutely, I would. So,
and I also like how she's like, well, obviously not. So you just want to call it a day? No, I don't want to call it a day.
The issue, honestly, the whole issue is that he committed to what hand he saw her holding the phone with, and
no, the whole
if he would have just said, "I saw you go by, you were holding the phone while you were driving," that's it. The issue is he said, "I saw you holding the phone, manipulating the phone with your right hand." So he's given like a false testimony, or about what he saw her doing, because, well, maybe we think she still could have been. So now that's just like not going to be a mystery. You said right hand, clearly that's not the case, and so this is going to get thrown out in court. Do you really want to go through that? And so it turns out the officer asked for it to be dismissed. So that's,
because he didn't want to be Brady.
He didn't want to go through this.
Here's the real problem. The real problem is the officer went through and wrote the freaking ticket.
He did still write the ticket,
man.
He had to hit that quota that day.
Protect and serve.
He should have known better about that.
The service part of it is like, if you run into a situation like that, even if you think, okay, maybe I got the wrong hand, you do just agree with the girl and be like, yeah, let's call it a day. Ah, that's pretty funny. I'm sorry. Like, I thought I saw you with your right hand. Maybe it was your left, but I said right. You clearly don't have a right hand. I'm so sorry about that. Let's call it a day. I'll just give you a warning.
Yeah.
But instead of writing went through, wrote the ticket, issued her a citation, told her she could show up to court to argue it. That to me is just like, why would you go through that?
Probably because he had a quota he needed to hit that day.
Wild.
Is the answer.
Yeah, but he could just pull over the next guy.
All right, real fast one. That's number 3. I think here's number 4. I think that's the order that we're currently in. Number 4. Let's make fun of this person real quick. Just no reason for this kind of hatred. Now we got a Starship launch, fairly successful, I guess. The booster, didn't really make it back, and the Starship blew up. But other than that, it seemed to be pretty successful. And here's a little bit of that situation.
Buoy cam, Testament.
Good shot time.
Now, what's weird is you can't hear it in this video, so that's why I just want to play it so you know what's going on. Here's a little bit of tail end of this stream.
We guaranteed excitement at the beginning of the show, and I'd say Starship delivered.
All right, so you hear some dangerous stuff going on in the background, and this person points out maybe SpaceX can ask its engineers not to chant nationalist dog whistles on the live stream, please. What a thing to complain about.
Oh my God.
If there's ever a chance that, if there's ever a reason or a time to chant USA, well, that's a good one.
Seems to be one
right
of
there.
them.
Now, I mean, honestly, I'd rather them just be chanting like SpaceX or something that doesn't chant as well. SpaceX. It doesn't.
SpaceX.
There you go. There you go. Yeah.
SpaceX. Sounds like SpaceX though.
Which is probably why he named it that. But yeah, so that's a really dumb. There's a community note on here that says, "Oh, there's no hidden meaning in the USA chant. They're proud of their accomplishments and proud of the nation that worked together to create the conditions where such accomplishments were possible. It is not a dog whistle." Yeah, it's not a dog whistle. It's totally fine to chant USA when people in your country, and they're right about that. Like, our conditions, although we complain about them all the time, have created an environment that makes this kind of thing possible. Why haven't any of the other countries done this? That's something people should take note of. The other countries have done some space stuff for sure. We probably don't see a whole bunch about it, but we're the ones that claim to have gone to the moon. You know?
Yeah.
No one else ever pulled that one off.
Multiple times.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, I think others have gone now, haven't they?
Not two? No, they ain't walked on that
They
thing, man.
landed?
Absolutely no one other than our people have claimed to have done that. And
well, what's happening here is we're building the biggest rocket, the biggest ship ever made, that's gone to space and come back. What should be technically impossible is being done, and that's the coolest thing. Redesigned, entire rockets. If you notice that, it has, 33 Raptor engines or something like that.
There's a lot.
36 Raptor engines.
I think you're right the first time.
Completely changed the way in which space travel can be done. Made it so much cheaper than what governments have been spending on space travel.
Yeah, it's crazy, man.
It's a cool accomplishment. SpaceX about to go IPO, by the way, in June.
I've heard it's going to be crazy, awesome, or that it's going to tank the stock market. So,
well, I think a lot of people have gotten in early.
Yeah, I tried. I've been trying.
So those are
when you're doing the accredited investor thing, you have to wait for employees to want to sell their shares at that time, unless you want to call someone over at SpaceX, be like, "Hey, you guys want to take I got $50 million. You guys want to take a little bit of money?" And otherwise, you have to wait for employees to sell their shares. So, or other people have been issued shares. So didn't get in early. Gonna have to pay full price. Okay, I'm gonna skip number 5. It was about.
But you can still get in on the IPO price.
When are the IPOs? Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I'm saying before it opens, technically.
Possibly.
Through your broker, you can request.
Yeah. That's right.
What's it called?
That's right.
I can't remember what it's called.
I don't know. Let's get
that way you get the IPO price and not the actual market order price.
We're going to skip number 5, which was about the MAID thing in Canada. There was a situation where someone met someone at a fast food / coffee place that had Crohn's, talked to a doctor, and just ended up, they were like, "Oh, yeah, you need to be killed." And I was like, "Crohn's? Really? Do you guys not do treatments for that? They got pretty crazy treatments for that stuff. Keep it down, The MAID program is gross to me. I think they killed 17,000 people in 2024, saving them a ton of money on healthcare costs, though. Like when you got people with
Just in Canada?
Yeah. You got people with like bad illnesses, like chronic illnesses, and you just kill them instead. Saves a lot of money.
Yeah.
And that's what, yeah. I'm surprised more governments haven't just moved straight towards that. Like, hey, wouldn't it be better if you were dead?
If you didn't
Don't you
exist.
agree? Yeah, so anyhow, that's the main thing for number 5. Number 6 is, listen, guys, I don't like this. But whatever. Control people if you can troll people if you want to do that. I'm not sure it'll actually happen.
Why does he look like a founding father? Is it the hair?
Is that his mugshot? That is his mugshot, I think.
That'd be
I'm pretty
hilarious.
sure it is
With a
his
suit on?
mugshot.
Yeah.
I sort of like the fact if that is actually his mugshot photo. But this is Trump on the face of a $250 bill or a $100 bill in 1990. Whichever one you guys want to call it. Unfortunately, this thing will only be worth $240 by the time Trump leaves office. But that's fine. So we got a $250 bill, and he wants to put his face on it.
Is this real?
This is real. This is a Washington Post story. They're trying to do it. Scott Bessem's out there talking about it, trying to push legislation because you're not supposed to have a living president on the money because that's insane. Would be the reason why.
Unless you're a communist.
And so they're going to
dictator country.
And so they're going to try and change that.
I like your Nate's podcast notes at the top right there.
Oh, yeah,
Good
that's my
screenshot there.
I haven't logged into that email in so long. So what I don't like about this is the fact that it's the 250th anniversary. And there's a lot of reasons that we should talk about at a 250-year celebration. We should talk about how the nation was created, why it was created, the principles on which it was created. And instead, I get the feeling that a bunch of people on the right are going to be pretending that somehow we're trying to follow up on those principles right now. And we're not. And so I was wondering, I had to search this, like what's a big principal founding father that could have gone on a new bill. 250th anniversary. There's founding fathers on our money. What if to commemorate? What if to celebrate what these people did? You said, you know what? There's someone that didn't get their face on the money, had a whole hell of a lot to do with this country getting started. And you put them on the bill as a thank you for their service to creating this nation. John Jay, it's a guy's name, okay? Not one of the big
famous
6, because they're he's the other 6 are not one of the big famous ones. I was looking up some John Jay quotes. I was like, hey, give me some of them John Jay quotes. 1774 quote, no power on earth has a right to take our property from us without our consent. They can't have that. You know, every man of every color and description has a natural right to freedom. You tell me one of the founding fathers said some kind of BS like that? That's probably
they were all racist.
They probably wrote a law saying he couldn't be on the money.
Yeah,
that's probably what it was. Or how about that? Here's a reason for Trump to pick. This would really freak some people out. Although I guess he wouldn't be able to because of, well, you know. Providence has given to our people the choice of their rulers, and it is the duty as well as the privilege and interest of our Christian nation to select and prefer Christians for their rulers. People would really freak out if you were to do that, but that would
except
be
for the Christians.
The Christians would like it a lot.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just
what
saying
about the Jews?
That would be a fun, and that's why John Jay ain't going on that bill.
Yeah,
They probably were thinking about it, and they're like, nope, can't do
Not
that.
with that rhetoric.
Not with that kind of hateful anti-Semitic rhetoric that's happening right now.
He basically said Jesus is king.
Yeah.
And then you can't have that.
It's not good. I propose a new bill. It is the $100 trillion bill with Trump's
Real
face
quick,
on it. Yeah.
If you go back to the other one, did you notice that one of the serial numbers is DT1?
No, I didn't see that. I mean, this is a mock-up, of course.
Donald Trump won.
So-
DT1. So
Well, that's number 1.
The combined
That's the first one.
serial number, PT45. But I like yours. Yeah, go back to yours. Yeah.
Yeah, this is the famous photo of that Zimbabwe $100 trillion bill. And thankfully, a lot of people are making fun of the fact, like, $250 bill, that's a weird thing. Is that not a sign of the times right there?
Right.
Of course it is.
Yeah.
You know, we don't need hundreds anymore. We need 250s. But of course, it's the 250th anniversary of the country. And if you are like a true grandiose narcissist, instead of putting one of the founding fathers on this bill, you put yourself on it. So that's what you would do.
I mean, he's better than Lincoln. Better than Washington.
Yeah. Well, I thought you were making an actual case that he was better than Lincoln.
Yeah.
How about let's make fun of Ted Cruz real quick? Just a moment of not understanding the situation people are in, and then we'll move on to the more fun stuff for the last 18 minutes that we have. Ted Cruz trying to get one on Gavin Newsom, who was complaining about Chevron's profits, even though California makes more money off of each gallon of gas than Chevron does. Ted Cruz says, just filled my tank in Texas. Gas is $3.99 a gallon. Hey, Gavin, the problem isn't Chevron. It's California's stupid energy policies. Pointing out how like gas is only $4 a gallon when that's like double what it was like 2 months ago or 3. It's just not the time to do that.
Right.
A lot of people were dragging him pretty hard on this as well. I'm
glad you can afford it, Ted.
They should have been. It is in fact cheaper than California, and California does a bunch of ridiculous, arbitrary things to make their gas more expensive for no reason at all.
Well, except they make money off of it.
They make money.
That's
and
the
people
reason.
who make that gas make money, and the people who lobby to get them to make that gas, yeah, they make money. So, okay, number 8, the Israel lobby, and it's actually conservatives playing dumb or people playing dumb. So we'll go through this real quick. Starting off with the Wall Street Journal freaking out about a joke that Thomas Massie made after he lost about taking a while to concede because he was trying to get a hold.
This was an opinion piece.
Yes. Taking a while to concede because he was trying to get a hold of Ed Galrine in Tel Aviv.
It's a good joke.
That's funny. It's a funny joke. All right. It's pretty good. They say in an opinion piece, after losing the primary election Tuesday night, Representative Thomas Massie peddled the oldest anti-Semitic trope in the book, that conniving Jews hold secret power, writes Matt Hennessy. Okay, so that's part of it. Michael Knowles, after John Cornyn lost to Ken Paxton in Texas, AIPAC was supporting Cornyn, just so you guys know, over Paxton, although both of these people are like pro-Israel people. It's not like Paxton is an anti-Israel candidate or something like that. Says, why did the Israel lobby remove Cornyn? That is the key to understanding all these primary upsets, right? They didn't. Sean Frosch says, Dave Smith's rules. When an AIPAC-backed candidate wins an election, it's 100% because of AIPAC, because they buy elections. When an AIPAC-backed candidate loses an election, it's like it never happened, and AIPAC isn't a big deal after all. Unbelievable lack of consistency. And this is the part where they all just play really dumb. Almost all of Ed Galrine's money in the Thomas Massie race came from the pro-Israel lobby, donor, PACs, all of those. Like, nearly all of it. In the 90s of percents of the money came from people who do work on behalf of Israel for a living. Like that's what they do.
Literally.
And so the question is, if the pro-Israel cause did not want to back Ed Galrine and he instead had 5% of the money they did, would he have been able to run the ads and the ground game and everything in order to double the turnout that they had? The answer is no. So you could say, well, it turns out the pro-Israel PACs are the reason that Thomas Massie lost. Technically, like, that's a pretty big reason. Because if they wouldn't have gotten behind Ed Galrine, would Ed Galrine been able to beat Massie? I don't think so. It takes a lot of money to do that. Took a lot of money to do that. We got to skip real quick just to number 9 and talk about the LNC. Now we got 15 minutes to do the hardest discussion. So Charlie, I'll fill you in on a couple things that happened. The first one was this photo that went around of a guy from LPNH doing what seems to be a Nazi salute. I don't know. He could have been
a Heil Hitler if I've ever seen one.
Could have been saying my heart goes out to you or something like that. I'm not sure. Classical Liberal Caucus says New Hampshire delegate Andrew Allgood proclaims his anti-liberty allegiance at the 2026 LPNC. They tell us this is the epitome of success. For libertarianism, we soundly reject this idea and anyone who espouses it. And what drove me nuts from this whole thing is that, of course, it's just getting portrayed as him doing like your standard Nazi Heil Hitler. Okay. What bothers me in this moment, first off, you never see his face in the photo. He was laughing because it was a joke. I was 10 feet away from him, laughing my ass off at this time because the room.
So you were that close to hate.
Yeah. The room was in an uproar at this moment because Jeremy Kaufman was up there on stage from LP&H, and he was getting heckled and called a Nazi, and people were shouting, and he's shouting back and forth, or he's saying stuff back to them, and it's this whole thing, people yelling that he's a Nazi, and so this guy stands up, pops a Roman, and says, Heil Kaufman. It was a joke. Clearly, it was a joke, obviously. I thought it was hilarious, and I won't speak for the other people at my table. I thought it was hilarious. Okay, maybe
you wrote it down in your diary that night.
Kaufman did come out and say that I'm appreciative of having enthusiastic supporters, but just for the record, this was a little dumb. So he did come out and say it was dumb. Now we'll get into the stealing part, which led to this person getting slapped. Hard, I might add, by this guy that's right there. Just that's the same guy from the Hitler thing. Remember the Hitler thing from just before? Yeah.
The same guy.
Same guy. Yeah. So the situation happened. Listen, you got to understand, a bunch of people there hated LP&H. A lot of them. LP&H has a specific style on X. They've already posted things in the last couple days that I was like, come on. Really? That's not helpful. Really is not helpful at all. And so I get, but then some people take that and they're like, you should be kicked out of the party. You should be gone. You guys are hateful, racist, homophobic, misogynist, anti-Semites, or something like that. Okay. Well, so something had been taken from them the night before. They claimed it was by this person, but I have no backing for that at all. That was their claim later on. She grabbed a stack of magazines. They were magazines that they had. When you go to a convention or something, you bring a bunch of stuff with you to give to people. Okay. So they had these magazines all about how great New Hampshire is. Literal, just like, oh, here's New Hampshire. Isn't it beautiful? Don't you want to move here?
Making maple syrup.
Yeah, it's all kinds of stuff. I have an emerging maple syrup conglomerate, all kinds of stuff like that. I think that was Vermont, but,
close enough.
Close enough. What are borders anyway?
They probably have some maple trees,
So she grabs a stack of magazines. The guy right in front of him at LP&H's delegate table. Okay, this is where this happens. I was standing there. All right. I was already in the back of the room because when there's uncomfortable situations happening in the room, I like to get up and walk around so I can easily leave the room if I need to, and then come back in and leave the room to kind of recharge a little bit because I have a tough time with that kind of stuff. And so she has these magazines at the table. He's like, put back my stuff. That's our stuff. That's our property. Don't take that. She's like, I'm taking this. Okay.
And sleep at night.
And so she goes out into the hallway, out into the lobby out here. And I had a moment of bravery. I was like, you know what? I'm going to follow behind these people and I'm going to see what happens because this is probably going to be interesting. And because I was already standing back there by the doors and follow him out there. He's still trying to get the stuff, trying to grab it out of her hands. And she's got real strong hands. She has both of her hands, unlike the girl from the cop thing earlier on. And so can't get out of her hands. And next thing I know, slaps her.
Like backhand?
So at that moment, I had turned to look at something else.
You missed the moment.
I missed the actual slap.
Okay.
But
you heard it.
The only thing I've said afterwards is his position afterwards looked like it was backhanded. And so in my mind, I assumed he had just backhanded her, but I did not actually see the slap.
Okay.
So
Is that what you told the cops?
That is my
eyewitness.
I didn't talk to the cops. Calling cops at a Libertarian convention. Come on. Someone even lied about that.
So yeah, that's right, Big Gus. It was a mostly peaceful convention.
Mostly peaceful, yeah.
Okay, good.
It's so crazy to be involved in a situation and actually watch it happen and then watch people's stories about it afterwards. And like, you were there, you know that they weren't there.
Drew says that you're the Forrest Gump of LPNC. You were there for every historic moment.
I was.
I bet you were drinking a Dr. Pepper while you watched that happen.
I was this convention's Forrest Gump. I was. So I saw that. It immediately got crazy afterwards. People surrounding them, and I was like, "All right, well, I'm out. I'm going to go back in the other room now." And that's what happened. So people have been trying to play really dumb on this. One of these is this guy from New Jersey saying that, well, she wasn't stealing because those are free marketing materials. It's stuff that they were giving the people. And so he has a back and forth with this guy. This is not the one he had with me. And this person says, I put a huge stack of my business cards on the counter, but that doesn't mean you get to take all of them. I offer free refreshments, but that doesn't mean you get to fill your backpack with them. You're a degenerate monkey who doesn't belong in civilized society. This person must be from New Hampshire, I guess. Says, if I do take all of your cards, what are you doing? This person says, take them back. And Bruno from New Jersey says, by force. And so in this moment, he is claiming that it is wrong to try and take back your stuff by force. And that's dumb because what libertarians oppose is not the use of force ever. It's the initiation of force. And if someone has taken your stuff against your will, then they have initiated the force. Now,
they violated the non-aggression principle.
They violated it first.
Yes.
And so in that point, you are not initiating
it's in the
force.
very simple rules of don't hurt people and don't take their stuff.
It says and. It doesn't say or in there. Those are both together.
Don't take their stuff.
And I guess I already did a long episode about this earlier in the week. He should not have hit the girl. That at least should have tried to get the magazines for like another minute before hitting the girl, at least. It happened very quick. I mean, within 20 seconds of going out into the lobby, she had dropped the magazines, trust me. So, but that, I just would never hit a lady over a stack of magazines. Now, as I said online, if someone had taken like my laptop off the table, and there's a river like right outside, if she was about to go throw my laptop in the river, you damn right. You damn right I'm going to slap her in the face. That's my stuff. Okay?
With your whole life on it.
Yes. I have everything. I haven't backed up any of this. Screw the cloud. All right? It's all right here. I had my laptop stolen one time. It had everything with it. It was terrible. I still haven't recovered from it.
You're still thinking about it.
I'm still thinking about it right now.
Yeah.
I'm like, where's that video? Damn it, it was on my laptop. So anyhow, yeah, big difference in this whole thing.
I would never hit a woman that didn't deserve it.
You would never.
Yeah.
Oh, dang it. I don't have... I told Costco I had his screenshot in here, and I don't have it pulled up.
No, you don't.
He had a back and forth, I think, with the same guy, actually. And here is that. I think this one. Yeah, there we go. He says, I agree she was unjustly assaulted. I disagree with you that she was taking free flyers because that isn't what she was doing. She stole a pile of their magazines that they were distributing with the intention of throwing them out. There was no voluntary exchange. Why is that concept so hard for you to understand? And again, you have to downplay the magazines to flyers as a means of justification. That is something annoying people have been doing. They're like, oh, she took a stack of their flyers. No. But they immediately jump into like this, like, leftist, I don't know, whatever childlike mentality of downplaying the stuff that she took as like flyers or something. They were magazines. Bruno says, I'm not sure what was stolen. There's zero evidence. I just showed you a photo. The photo's been online for a bit. I don't know what she was going to do with them. There's zero evidence. What do you think? She was going to pass them out because she loves New Hampshire so much?
It doesn't matter what she was going to do with them.
Thank you. I didn't even talk to it. Of course it doesn't matter what she was going to do. That's that guy's property or LP&H's property. Doesn't matter if she is going to take them and says, well, I'm going to give you $20,000 per magazine. If he says you can't take this stuff, he's the property owner. So either she's going to set him on fire outside or she's going to give you $1 million per magazine. It is up to him to say whether or not you can take that stuff because that's his damn property. Obviously, and they would know that if they weren't being such children because they hate LP&H so much. Many other times they would be able to think through this. They can't right now because they're completely clouded by their emotions. And that has been the most black-pilling experience from this freaking convention, is that it was hard enough watching Republicans, who I get have always sucked, all of a sudden not care about someone like Thomas Massie and small government after just like a year ago claiming to care about it, watching that happen, watching them be hypocrites on founding fathers and constitutionality, to go to a freaking libertarian convention, and watch them have their emotions cloud their principles. These are libertarians who spent the money and the time to actually go to a freaking convention in Michigan, and they can't do it either.
There's no hope.
That's where I'm at right now, which is why I haven't attempted to do any other episodes this week, because I'm still trying to work my way out of it. Because after watching libertarians at this convention, I'm like, if they can't do it, if these people, so many of them, a large percentage of them can't do it, and these are the people who decide to go to these conventions, then would you think anyone else in the country is going to be able to do it either? You know, Republicans can't do it when it comes to stuff they've been talking about their whole lives. Libertarians live by this stuff, and they can't do it either when they get emotional. I'm like, well, damn, that's not good. That's not good at all.
Apparently, according to Magoo, we can't do it either.
We can't,
because we're so emotional about Thomas Massie. We can't see that the reason he lost is because he wasn't endorsed by Trump. It was because Israel's behind everything.
Well, that's
how emotional we are.
I get that's the thing. My thing is the actual facts on the ground of the money that came in. It took an operation to go to that many nursing homes and get that many absentee ballots. And like, I'm not even
and to roll that many wheelchairs
fully
down
joking,
the sidewalk.
but it took a lot of money to go and do that and get that many early ballots, mail-in ballots, all that stuff. That's an operation. And yeah, the Trump endorsement is that's a big part of it, obviously. But the money had to come in to make this operation happen. And that's where the money came in from.
What's interesting, though, Magoo says Trump is like 109-0 in his endorsements. What's funny is,
in primaries, not in general elections.
But Trump has endorsed other primary challengers to Massie before in the past.
Yeah.
And lost those. So it's not just the endorsement. There has to be something else that changed this time.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, I have to go. So Nate, get him voting and tell him what to do.
So for everything else for the LPNC section, you can refer back to my episode that I did on Tuesday. It was an hour and something minute long episode where I went through in detail a bunch of the stuff that I saw, that people squeaking the chicken, trying to interrupt Jeremy while he was talking, the immediate victimhood complaints that happened afterwards, LP&H being disaffiliated. I've already submitted to you over an hour of me talking about that convention. And so that's okay. We don't spend a lot of time on it today. Just go back to that episode. If you're watching on YouTube, I'll put up a little thing you can click on like right now to go back and listen to that episode. So go do that. That is all encompassing part of the Libertarian National Convention section of Dumb Bleep of the Week. I'm sorry today kind of got cut short. Charlie has a thing. I have to go to Illinois, and so we just gotta get going. And next week be a full week. I don't got anything going on. Number one is Mamdani and seizing the property from the dirty slumlords. Number two, Bill Burr with his 40 hours a week and CEO pay, stuff like that. Number three, the whole one-armed woman situation. Number four, the USA chant dog whistle. Number five, the MAID situation in Canada. Didn't actually get to go into that story. Number six, the Trump's face on the $250 bill for the 250th anniversary of America. I would have picked I don't know. I just say I would have picked one of the founders. I think that'd be a good idea. Number 7, Ted Cruz, $3.99. Number 8, all of the conservatives talking about the Israel lobby. I still contend that, like, the money in the race matters. It is true that Trump endorsed, but where did all the money to fund Ed Gelrein come from? Now, of course, it could be the case that it would come from somewhere else if they weren't going to do it. But there is something different here. 85, 90, 95%, somewhere in there of Ed Gelrein's money came from the Israel lobby. What if he didn't have that money? Would Thomas Massie have won this election? Yeah, it's possible. Number 9, all the situations that I saw at the LPNC. Please refer back to the episode on Tuesday because we only got like 5% of the way into the stuff. Get your votes in. While people are getting their votes in, I'm going to go ahead and tell you to go to joingmail.com, join the private Discord so you can hang out with us, especially on Fridays for Dumb Bleep of the Week, and send your own submissions in. Thank you to everyone who sent in these submissions. Of course, go to GodHatesFeds.com, get your own God Hates Feds t-shirt. Listen on your favorite podcast app, leave a comment on, I think you can actually leave comments on Spotify too. And just so everyone knows, we've had an issue with uploading video episodes to like Apple Podcasts and Spotify. I've been talking with our podcast host people about making sure that we can do that. So pretty soon you'll be able to watch the video episodes on your podcast app, or you can also watch on YouTube, and you can leave a comment and a like and all of that on there as well. The Dumb Bleep of the Week winner for this week is the Libertarian Party National Convention. And there's even stuff that I forgot to tell you guys about on Tuesday. Go to the Mises Caucus page and watch, or go to YouTube and find the speech by the great Scott Horton that he did there. And after you watch that speech, realize that he put up a resolution to try and stop this from happening, and the people there voted that resolution down. If you don't know what I'm talking about, then go and look up that speech. You should do it. It's probably on our X page as well. So, do every single thing that I just said to do. It's a lot of stuff. I hope you were writing it down. Do every single one of the things I just said to do. LPNC is the winner for this week. We didn't do an episode last week, but it is Massie losing his election. And if you do every single one of those, and I mean every single one of them, I'll be checking. And we will see you on Monday. Until then, have a good weekend and a good morning, Liberty.